Namaskar. Good evening to the special another weekly edition of our media briefing. Thank you for joining us. We have a large number of questions, so I'll at the outset go over to George. If you could read out the questions in groups.
Yes, sir. The first group of questions is on John Kerry's visit to India. Maha from CNN News 18 asks, has US Special Presidential Envoy on Climate, John Kerry, nudged India for any concrete commitment on zero emissions by 2050? What has been India's response? Suhasini from The Hindu asks, during Mr. Kerry's visit, did he raise the need for India to announce a net zero emission target deadline? If so, what was our response?
Well, as you know, US Special Presidential Envoy for Climate, Mr. John Kerry, arrived in New Delhi earlier this week on Monday. He called on Prime Minister, he's met EM, he's met the Minister of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, and other ministers. Special Envoy Kerry's visit is in the run-up to the Leaders Summit on Climate, which will be held virtually, and which will be convened by the US on 22nd and 23rd of April. At the invitation of President Biden, Prime Minister Modi will participate in this summit along with other world leaders. Meetings with Special Envoy Kerry were very productive. Both sides discussed the global challenge of climate change in the context of several multilateral events later this year leading up to COP26 summit in Glasgow. Special Envoy Kerry appreciated PM's vision and global leadership in climate action, especially our ambitious target of 450 gigawatts of renewable energy by the year 2030. They discussed the need for supportive climate action by all countries in line with their respective national circumstances. Given our complementary strengths, Prime Minister and Special Envoy Kerry agreed to collaborate on a 2030 agenda with focus on clean and green energy through enhancing availability of climate finance, building resilient infrastructure, energy storage, and green hydrogen. The Indian side briefed him about our wide-ranging efforts to meet commitments under the Paris Agreement and our efforts to reduce emissions, and India's lead in multilateral initiatives such as the International Solar Alliance and the Coalition of Disaster Resilient Infrastructure. George.
The second group of questions is on the visit of the Russian FM to India. Sridhar from Asian Age asks, Russia openly backed the radical Taliban's role in Afghanistan. Does India view this as more evidence of Russia's pro-Pak tilt? Because historically, Russia has always stood for secular forces in the region. Sandeep Dikshit from the Tribune asks, will the MEA react to reports that the visit by Sergei Lavrov did not have the mandatory call on the PM? Narendra Nath Mishra from Navbharat Times asks, रूस के विदेश मंत्री के भारत दौर के किस तरह देखते हैं, या से वह पाकिस्तान भी गए, भारत उसे किस तरह देखते हैं? Deepak Ranjan from BTI Pasha asks, रूस के विदेश मंत्री सर्गेई लावरोव की भारत यात्रा की क्या निहितार्थ रहे? रूस के राष्ट्रपति की यात्रा का कोई कार्यक्रम तय हुआ? साथ ही 9 साल बाद कोई रूसी विदेश मंत्री की पाकिस्तान यात्रा और रक्षा सहयोग बढ़ाने पर सहमति पर विदेश मंत्रालय की क्या प्रतिक्रिया है? Similar questions were asked from Madhurendra from News Nation, Brahm Prakash from Z, and Pranay from ABP.
Thank you. As we are all aware, Foreign Minister of the Russian Federation, Sergei Lavrov, visited India this Tuesday. The visit of the Russian Foreign Minister was a good opportunity to renew and review our special and privileged partnership. A broad range of issues were discussed. You would have got a good sense of the same from the joint media interaction of the two foreign ministers after their meeting earlier this week. As regards the supply of defense equipment by Russia to Pakistan, you are aware of India's well-known position on this, and I need not repeat it. Moving on to Afghanistan, India's position on the situation in Afghanistan was most recently articulated by External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar at the recent Heart of Asia conference in Dushanbe, as well as during the joint media interaction with Foreign Minister Lavrov earlier this week. I do not have anything further to add for the moment. As for the Foreign Minister of Russia's visit to Pakistan, I think a similar question was asked last week, and I had indicated that it was not for us to respond to that. India's close, time-tested, and strategic relations with Russia stand on their own merit and are not influenced by relations with other countries.
The next group of questions is on Pakistan. Sridhar from Asian Age asks, media reports from Islamabad claim that back-channel Indo-Pak talks started more than a year ago and that PM Modi may visit Pakistan for a SAARC summit later this year. Can India confirm if this is accurate? Suhasini from The Hindu asks, two Pakistani news sites have reported today that the India-Pakistan back channel has been in place since 2018 and continues to discuss confidence-building measures. Adding to a number of previous reports on this, could the MEA comment on whether India and Pakistan are engaged in talks at any level? Similar question from Deepak Ranjan from PTI.
Well, actually, if you talk about the channel of communication on this issue, let me just recall that our respective high commissions exist and are functioning. So that's a very effective channel of communication. Of course, regarding speculations about the SAARC summit, I have nothing to share with you for the moment. Moving on to the query regarding import of sugar and cotton by Pakistan, I think I have already addressed this last week and I would not like to say anything more for the moment.
The next group of questions is on the proposed visits of foreign dignitaries to India. Sandeep from Tribune asks, does the schedule by French and Australian foreign ministers change after Raisina Dialogue was moved to a fully digital format? Suhasini from The Hindu asks, since the Raisina Dialogue has been moved to a virtual format, could you please confirm the status of visits by Denmark PM, Rwanda President, Australian FM, French Defence Minister, etc.? Are any visits to India now scheduled this month? Would be grateful if you could confirm details about visits by UK PM and Japanese PM as well. Archana from Bloomberg asks, could you share details of the India-France-Australian trilateral? What will be the main areas of discussion with France during bilateral meetings with their foreign ministers next week? Similar questions from Maha from CNN News 18, Siddhant from WION, Abhishek Dhulia from NHK Japan Broadcasting Corporation.
Actually, there are multiple issues here. As you are aware, the organizers of the Raisina Dialogue have decided to host a fully digital version of this year instead of the hybrid one they were planning earlier. Some dignitaries were planning to come in person to attend this event. We expect some of them to still come, while others may join digitally. Details of this are still being worked out. As regards other visits that have been alluded to, I would be in a position to share information as and when these visits are announced.
The next group of questions is on the Vaccine Maitri initiative. Maha from CNN News 18 asks, AstraZeneca has sent a notice to Serum Institute for not fulfilling its international commitments under Gavi and COVAX. Has this problem arisen due to vaccines being prioritized for India due to the COVID crisis, or because of difficulty in procuring raw materials from the US for vaccine production, which has taken up by Ambassador Taranjit Sandhu? What has been America's response? Madhurendra from News Nation asks, भारत वैक्सीन एक्सपोर्ट पर बैन लगाए, इस घरेलू राजनीति की क्या प्रभाव वैक्सीन एक्सपोर्ट्स पर है? Gautam Lahiri asks, there are reports some of our neighbor countries, including Bangladesh, is running out of vaccine stocks. When is government planning to supply vaccines to those countries? Similar questions from Brahm Prakash from Z, Kalol from The Hindu, Pranay from ABP, Agni Roy from Ananda Bazar Patrika.
Look, I think I had responded quite at length on the issue of our supplies of vaccines abroad when we spoke at the last media briefing. We've always said that supply of made in India vaccines abroad would continue, taking into account our domestic requirements. Let me reiterate that there is no ban on export of vaccines. In fact, the website of our ministry is being updated regularly to reflect that the supply of vaccines that are happening on a periodic basis. Regarding the issue specific to Serum Institute, I think I would refer you to the company itself. They would be best placed to answer any such question. And as regards the issue of procurement of raw material from the US, You would recall that Foreign Secretary had been informed during his briefing on March 12th that the issue had been taken up with the United States of America.
The next group of questions is on vaccine supplies to Paraguay. Siddhant from Vion asks, did India supply vaccines to Paraguay after Taiwan requested? Taiwan FM said so. Any confirmation on this? Devi Rupa from The Wire has asked, Reuters had quoted Taiwan Foreign Minister as saying that India had helped out its request to supply vaccine to Paraguay. Can you confirm if India had received this request from Taiwan and whether India's supply of Covaxin to Paraguay was a result of this request? Archana from Bloomberg asks, we're following up on Paraguay saying India helped it with vaccines in time after China linked its promised vaccine supplies to cutting relations with Taiwan. Could you please confirm if this is true and is this part of the Quad initiative? Similar questions from Deepak Ranjan from PTI Basha.
I think we are all aware that India is opening an embassy in Paraguay. During a telephonic conversation between External Affairs Minister and the Foreign Minister of Paraguay, a request for vaccines was raised by the Paraguayan side, and EAM responded positively to this request. Subsequently, a shipment of made in India vaccines was sent to Paraguay. I would like to confirm that no third party was involved in this.
The next group of questions is on the situation in Myanmar. Sandeep Dikshit from the Tribune asks, civilian toll in Myanmar has crossed 500 and refugees are fleeing to most neighboring countries except perhaps China. Is India attempting regional dialogue with the generals and will it shelter refugees? Siddhant from Vion asks, will India bank any sanctions against Myanmar?
I think last week I had outlined in detail our position and how we see the situation in Myanmar. Let me reiterate today our condemnation of the violence and our support for restoration of democracy in Myanmar. I do not have anything further to add for the moment.
The next group of questions is on China. Madhurendra from News Nation asks, लद्दाख की सीमा पर डिसएंगेजमेंट का एक चरण पूरे होने के बाद समूची प्रक्रिया अन्य हिस्सों में रुकी हुई है, साथ ही न डी-एस्केलेशन की स्थिति दिखाई दे रही है और न ही इंडिकेशन कि कमांडर लेवल की अगली बैठक में से क्या उम्मीद ये रखी जाए. दीपक रंजन फ्रॉम पीटीआई बाशा आस्क्स, पूर्वी लद्दाख में चीन के साथ गतिरोध की ताज़ा स्थिति क्या है? Srinjoy from Times Now asks, is there a commander conference in Ladakh tomorrow? Will it be Chushul or Moldo? What are the primary issues to be discussed? Similar question from Pranay from ABP News.
As I had outlined last week, we would like to see disengagement in the remaining areas, which would lead to de-escalation in eastern Ladakh, and that would hopefully lead to restoration of peace and tranquility and provide conditions for progress of our overall bilateral relationship. During the meeting on March 12th on the Working Mechanism on Coordination and Consultation, WMCC, both sides had agreed to convene the 11th round of the senior commanders meeting. When I have something to share more on this, I will certainly do so.
On Canada, Madhurendra from News Nation asks, Canada-based New Democratic Party अपने कन्वेंशन में कश्मीर और कृषि कानून जैसे मुद्दे उछाल रही है. भारत की क्या प्रतिक्रिया है?
देखिए, आपने जिस विशेष घटना की उल्लेख की है उसके बारे में तो मैं क्या कुछ बता नहीं पाऊंगा, पर मैं याद दिलाना चाहता हूं कि ऐसे मुद्दों पर हमने पहले भी कह रखा है कि आंतरिक मामला है हमारा, और इसमें हम मैं और अब इस विषय पे और क्या एक्स्ट्रा कुछ भी कहना नहीं चाहूंगा.
नरेंद्र नाथ मिश्रा फ्रॉम नवभारत टाइम्स ऑन न्यूजीलैंड आस्क्स, देश में बढ़ती कोविड केस के कारण न्यूजीलैंड ने भारत से एंट्री पर बैन लगा दिया है. क्या किसी और देश ने चिंता जताई है?
हमें ज्ञात हुआ है न्यूजीलैंड सरकार से कि उन्होंने 11 अप्रैल से 28 अप्रैल तक ये बैन लगाई है. वो कह रहे हैं कि ये टेम्पररी बैन है, क्योंकि और ये सिर्फ भारतीय नागरिक नहीं, न्यूजीलैंड के नागरिक पर भी लागू है. हम आशा यही करते हैं कि 28 तारीख के बाद ये बैन को हटाया जाएगा और ताकि हमारे बीच में फिर नॉर्मल मूवमेंट की स्थिति की तरफ हम कोशिश कर पाएं.
Sandeep from the Tribune asks, could you please give us an update on the container project in Sri Lanka?
I think we have said this before. This is now an issue between the government of Sri Lanka and the private investors. I really don't have any update to share on this specific issue.
Siddhant from Vion asks, during the meeting with the Eritrean FM today, was situation in Tigray discussed?
As you are aware, this is a live issue currently at the United Nations Security Council. During his talks with External Affairs Minister today, the Eritrean Foreign Minister shared his government's perspectives on developments in the Horn of Africa region. He spoke about Tigray in that context.
Shankar from IVD asks, how far are we closer to resolve a riddle over the Assumption Islands? Any progress on this issue?
Sorry, I don't have any comment to make on that at this moment.
Siddhant from Vion asks, will India be present at Turkey-Afghan talks? Deepak Ranjan from PTI Basha asks, Afghanistan pe jari samagra varto ki kya sthiti hai?
Look, this is an issue that is a lot more needs to be worked out in this regarding the Turkey talk. I think it's premature to comment on it about the scope and participation. Are there any further questions?
No, sir. No more
Thank you very much. Thank you for joining today evening. Good evening.